Ben, how's the boat hair this morning? After a nice crispy run.
Looks beautiful. Got
a nice sunrise boat ride. I don't know when I will have uploaded the previous video, but it was an absolute smallmouth smash fest yesterday. Not gonna do much of an intro. We're just gonna get right into fishing. We're on the same hump that we crushed them on yesterday. So as long as they're down there on the graph, we should get into a bunch again. There's first fish of the morning. There's a good morning from the smallmouth. Ben's like, okay, so here, just to show you guys, all those streaks, the spaghetti streaks, those are the bass. Dude, there's a lot down there. All right, let me go land this thing so I don't tangle my fish and all your stuff. No, you're fine. Nice 3-4 pounder to start the day off. This was better than my cinnamon roll breakfast. Oh, look at that. Some beautiful bronzies in the morning. Nice, dude. Just another chunky, awesome fish.
Good way to start, buddy.
Good morning, Lake Huron. They're still here and they're still very hungry. One thing we're doing in order to catch fish with these drop shots is we're making sure not to overwork the bait. You guys aren't seeing us doing like this and really working the rod. All we're doing is dropping it down and holding onto the line to feel for the bite. And there's so much current on the Great Lakes that this bait is moving so much on its own underwater. You don't want to overwork it. You want it to look as natural as possible. So really, if anything, we'll just do a couple slight pumps right when it goes down there to get their attention. But for the most part, you see another? For the most part, we're just dropping it down there and just letting it sit there and waiting for the bite. There's a lot right here, dude. There we go. So that's really cool. So that was a fish. That's where he hooked it, and it shot up to the surface. There he is. I don't know. Oh yeah, another decent one. Oh, getting some air. Every single one of these fish, it's crazy. How fast they shoot up to the surface. You got to be reeling as fast as you can just to keep up with them. Oh, I love big smallmouth. This one's really pretty. The coloring on them and everything. Oh,
that's a pretty smallmouth.
Sunrise smallies. Dink. Hook wasn't even in him. Just a perfect specimen right there. The crazy thing is this is like a completely normal, like very average adult fish here. Just like an 18-inch, 3.5 pounder. See you, girl. Video game fishing is still working this morning.
Still working, yeah.
It is still working. This is all I caught it on. It's just like a little goby impersonation. Impersonation, is that the right thing to say for a bait? Probably not. Impersonation.
It's a little goby.
It just looks like a goby. I'll keep it with that. Imitator. That just sounded weird coming out of my mouth. A goby impersonator. Definitely not the right word. Oh, got one. Got one. Eat my potatoes. I still have a fork in my mouth.
I see him on the ground.
I got some talking to the camera to do. Doubled. Wow. That's a long time coming. Thank you, bud. Are we in like a new spot? Oh, there's so many down there. So many. Got one. Yeah, drop down. They're hot. Oh, this is a big one, dude. No. Look at this one. This was a big one. Drop down though. There's so many right there.
That is a good one.
That's at least a 4. Just when you least expect it, eating my potatoes that I had for breakfast. Oh my God, this thing is fat. You got one too? Oh my God, they are so hot.
Ooh, dude, this might be a big one.
Mine's a mule. 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 I can't even fully appreciate this fish. It's a huge, gorgeous smallmouth. probably close to 4 pounds. But I need to get back down to that school that's really hungry. We have not caught a fish in over 3 hours for a bunch of reasons I'm about to explain. But for right now, I just need to get this fish back. Have you seen your fish? You just get yours in? Dude, that's how mine was. The coloring was just amazing.
So pretty. Like, this is what a beautiful Great Lakes smallmouth.
Let me see that in the sun.
Like. Super golden. You have all the stripes and all the colors.
Do you want to get a close-up picture on that one? Yeah. What you guys just witnessed right there was textbook highs and lows of offshore smallmouth fishing, right? I mean, I've never really done it before, but after a day of doing this, that's basically...
That's what happens.
That's what happens. We didn't do too hot on these spots in the morning. They weren't really set up and grouped up really well, so we decided to do some exploring. We took about 2.5 hours to explore a bunch of new reefs out here, and they were all completely empty. So we wasted a bunch of time doing that. We just came back to the 2 reefs where we've been catching fish on, but again, it's just been pretty dead. I was sitting in the back of the boat eating potatoes with the drop shot just on the bottom, completely still, and a bass just decides to bite it, and then all of a sudden that school of fish just fired, and we caught 4 in like a minute or 2. While we were on that school directly above them, if you dropped on them, you could catch a fish. We, while dealing with those 4 or 5 fish, however many we caught right there, we drifted off them a little bit, and it's been 15 minutes and we cannot find them since. And if you can't find the fish, you can't catch them, and that's the coolest but most frustrating thing about doing this. We found the school again. Yeah, I set. Oh, this thing is so black. Look at him. See that squiggly line on the left side, the bottom right? I sat back down here, put on a new bait, looked on the graph, I'm like, oh, there's a fish down there. Dropped down. Ben, we relocated the school. He's got one. All right, we gotta move fast. God, beautiful fish. We gotta move fast. We're gonna lose them really quickly. See that streak right there from the middle down to the bottom? That was my fish going right back to the bottom. Yeah, we really, I don't know why we don't have multiple drop shots on. But then we're gonna have 4 fish on at once, and that's gonna be an issue.
That'd be beautiful.
That's beautiful. That's my bait falling, and that was a fish following me down. And there's another one right there. 2. They're not hungry though. They're chilling. They're so inactive until one of their buddies bites and like, oh, okay, we're eating now. I'm gonna employ the dead stick method. So it seems to be how I get them to fire every time, or like either of us gets them to fire. You just sit there until one decides to just nip it. That's a big one too.
Oh, wow.
That's a big one.
That's a giant one.
There's Ben's fish he just caught. Zoom. I'm gonna net it. Oh my God, that's a giant one, dude. Is that our 5?
That's a good one. I don't know if it's 5, but that's a good one. Ate the drop shot bait. It says 4.2. It was really bouncing on 4.4. That's about a 4 1/4. It's a gorgeous fish.
Yeah, I don't know if these are lampreys.
This here is a lamprey. See how it's kind of circular? Those lampreys have circular mouths with a ton and ton of teeth. When they latch onto those fish, that's what happens. And the fish are typically able to shake them. This one's partially healed. But that's a lot of these wounds you're seeing on these fish are lamprey. And these are invasive species, so if you see them, if you catch a fish with them, pull it off, cut its head off. We're gonna let this fish go. It sounds brutal, but these are invasive species that are killing these giant smallmouth.
Yeah, they're like the scariest looking fish ever.
They're big parasites. There.
Oh no, that's a fizz candidate.
It's coming out the other way.
That's a fizz candidate.
There she goes. Swimming back down. Yeah, dude, she's gone.
Oh, that fish is gone.
She is.
I thought we might have had to fizz that fish because it wasn't coming up, but
like that fish was kind of just good. Going slow, I guess. I don't know.
I was like, oh, that's a fizz candidate. We're gonna have to empty their air bladder. Don't really want to be sticking needles in fish, so next when we get out of deep water, let's fizz one just to show people what it is.
Yeah.
And why I don't really like doing it, because you're literally sticking a needle through a fish and poking a hole in his air bladder. As long as they can go down, I'd rather not fizz them. I've seen studies that say it doesn't really do that much, but it's really big in tournament fishing, especially when you got to keep them in the live well for so long, coming from 30 foot to 1 foot in the live. When we're putting them back down to 30 foot, I don't think it matters too much as long as they get down quickly. Smallmouth. We found him again right when we were gonna move. What's a fat fish?
Oh, that's a good one.
That is like the first fish in 5 or 6 hours. So that fish catch really shows you guys just how weird this has been. These fish hate the flat calm. We had been catching all our fish really close to structure, right on the edge of a reef. We had drifted 100 yards off a reef. All of a sudden there was a little bit of hook, that little bass down there that we had not been seeing on the reef where we had been seeing them the last basically day. And Ben dropped down and caught it. So we're actually gonna fizz this fish. Ben's gonna explain just a little bit of how you do it, why you do it. It's basically releasing air out of their swim bladder so they can successfully swim back down to where they were caught.
So that's exactly it. All you're basically doing is releasing the pressure out of that swim bladder so that fish can swim safely back down to the depths that that fish was living in. All you're gonna need is a syringe and an 18 gauge 1.5 inch needle. All you're gonna do is take this needle and syringe and go in through the crushers here. And then you're gonna hear some air release. Then you're gonna go underwater. Basically make sure that there are no bubbles coming out. Once those bubbles are done, you're gonna pull that needle out and that fish is gonna be good to go. Swim back down to the depths. When you let a fish go that's been fizzed, you wanna kinda let him have time to make sure he's gonna swim off on his own, just like that. When you fizz a fish properly, that fish is going to swim back down to depths and be ready for someone else to catch him.
So there you go. That's especially important when you catch a fish out of deep water. And oftentimes when you need to do it is you let them go, they try to swim down and their belly just brings them back up and they go belly up. That's just because their swim bladder hasn't adjusted. Okay, maybe we'll catch more fish now. I don't know. It's been extremely tough out here. There he is.
That's so cool, dude.
Lipless crank fired him up. I'm taking credit.
That's a big one.
It is a big one, dude. Oh God, come on. Huge bass, yes, dude. Finally. I had my drop shot dead sticked and I was yo-yoing a lipless crankbait. I don't think it'll go quite 5.
Dude, that's a chunk. I bet it'll go 5.
You think?
I bet that'll go 5.
That might go 5,
That
I don't
might
know.
go 5.
Oh, I'm getting a picture. It's been so tough. Let's put him in the live well for 2 seconds while we get the scale and everything ready. Thank you so much for biting, you big smallmouth, you. Well, Lake Huron has absolutely blessed me with a great gift on this tough afternoon of fishing. Let's see how big this big girl weighs. It might go 5. I wanted to catch a 5-pounder. 6-pounder is, it's a lofty goal. You know, you got to set high goals for yourself, but it's not exactly reasonable. A 5-pound fish is a great big trophy smallmouth.
Scale on.
That's a big smallmouth.
Zeroed.
If it's not 5, it's very close.
Oh, here I go.
Is it like 413 again? Oh my God! What? Hold on, wait again. No way.
Grab that fish.
Show the camera.
5 pounds.
12
ounces. 11 ounces on this time.
How do you release it?
That is a giant, dude.
What the hell? Dude, we've been catching so many big fish. I was like, oh, it might go 5.
That's a giant, dude.
Wow. That's my 3rd biggest smallmouth ever by 1 ounce or
That's
2
so
ounces. Aside from that big, well, technically, the biggest fish I've had weighed was a 513 up in northern Michigan like 6 years ago. And then this summer I caught that. We were calling it an easy 6-pounder, but all we got a length. It was an over 22-inch fish on that river up in Wisconsin. But this is a rare giant. This is a rare giant.
That's a giant fish.
As always with our big fish, we're gonna get a couple pictures and then let her go. We're gonna let this Lake Huron giant go. Thank you, Lake Huron, for giving us a pity gift. There she goes. She splashes us goodbye. Ben, thank you, sir. Oh, we got water all over that lens. We got a nice crispy water dropleted lens. That's what you come here for. That's what you have basically pounded your head in a wall, graphing out here and searching to find. These fish, guys, are incredibly hard to find, even harder to catch sometimes, but when you finally put it all together, it's so worth it. I mean, there's very few places where you can go and catch a 5-pound, 13-ounce smallmouth. There's an hour left in the day. Maybe we'll catch more. Maybe they're biting. It turned on really hot yesterday in like the hour and a half before sunset, so maybe it'll be the same. I hope you guys can see because there's just water everywhere all over that lens. Well, guys, this is all I caught it on, a drop shot, like barely a foot leader, and this tiny, tiny little, what is this, like a bass magnet? It's just like a little creature bait.
It's just like a little minnow or goby imitator.
Yeah. They've really been keyed onto this silver color for whatever reason. And the weird thing about me is whenever I've drop shot fished, I've worked the bait. These fish are by far biting the best when you just do absolutely nothing with it and hold it still. They just cup up and go, boop. They're so fat, they don't really need any food, but it's sitting right there in their face that they just figure, why not?
It's like pizza, man. You sit on the couch, if someone tosses you pizza, and it sits there long enough, you're going to eat it.
We're giving them some pizza. Oh, they're still there. You're missing them.
I think I'm probably rock.
There he is. Oh no, that's a bass. Oh, it's another big one, dude. Another big one. Oh my God, dude, it's another 5-pounder. That one might be bigger.
That one's giant.
That one might be bigger.
High five, dude. That's so big.
That is so big. That is so big.
Look at how fat he is.
That is so big.
That might
Get back down there. That is so big. Okay, hey, let's get a quick weight, and then if it's bigger than 5, I mean, wow, dude, we could have had a picture with two like 5.5.
It locked the first time at 5'11", it locked that time at 5'9".
Okay. All right. Letting the Gigantor go. The second giant. That's so crazy. We got to get back down there, dude. After all day of just a lull, they're biting. They're biting. Big ones are biting, Ben. You got to get in the game. You found these fish.
I know. I got to catch one now. I lost one. He bit the tail off me, dude.
You caught a 6'8" 2 days ago, so I mean you're kind of done. That's what that is. You're done catching big fish. They give you a 6.5. Yeah. And like literally flying around with the. There's one. It's a smallmouth. It's a decent smallmouth. Well, at least we found some smallmouth. It's not even sunset bass anymore. It's way past sunset. Oh, you know what? I'm just enjoying the fight because I'm not going to get on a good smallmouth bite until maybe another month. And it's very likely going to be if I fish with you again, because every time I fish with you, we've crushed smallies.
Dude, it's always so much fun. I mean, you catch so many fish. Crazy.
He's the tiny baby brother of the big bass I caught, but I appreciate him just as much. Well, this is how addicted we are to trying to catch these fish. We were staring at our grass for probably like a half hour now, just straight down, and we look up, and you can't really tell on the camera right now, but it's like basically pitch black now. It's 45 minutes after sunset, and we've been toying with this one fish for like 20 minutes now at least. It's a big fish. Here's the.
That's a fish.
Oh, that's white. Wow, that was really helpful. Yeah, you can't see the fish, but it was really tough because of that weather, but the weather finally changed and we put 2 giant fish in the boat. Ben, I can't thank you enough again, man.
It's a lot of fun, dude.
Please check out his channel. He's a great guy, puts in a ton of work to catch a lot of big fish, and he posts it all to his YouTube channel. So if you like big fish, big smallmouth especially, go check him out. I had a lot of fun as always.
Dude, it was a
I
lot
can't
of fun.
wait to maybe do it again this fall.
We caught a lot of big ones, and I think this fall when you come back, we're going to get on some big, shallower fish. Doing something a lot different, but hopefully get on some more giants.
I've never done this before, and it was super, super fun. And the cool thing about those 2 fish, in 2-3 weeks, when they're even fatter for that fall feed, those are both 6-pound fish, which is just absolutely insane trophy fish. So again, thank you to Ben. Thank you to each and every one of you for watching. I will catch you on the next video.